Hi guys, this is a video tutorial on factorising quadratic monic trinomials. Okay, so expressions in the form of this one here are called monic because the coefficient of x of x squared is 1. Okay, mono means 1. We can use this technique. Okay, so there's a 1 in there. We can use this technique to factorise this. This is another factorisation tool along with the stuff we've done in the previous chapters. This will be new to most of you. Okay, so these expressions factorise into the product of two factors starting with x. Okay, so just down the second line here, it's going to be x plus something in brackets, x plus something in another bracket. Okay, so the product of two factors starting with x or whatever pronoun you're using. Okay, so it's kind of like, if you remember the FOIL technique we used to expand, it's the reverse of that from our expansion work. So to fill in the spaces in the brackets, you have to think of factors that of the last number that add up to the middle number. So you have to be really good at your times tables. Well, it helps to be really good at your times tables because you don't need to work out factors. So looking at that first question there, so what we're doing is we're looking at factors of positive 10 that add up to positive 7. Okay, so in the early examples, it's quite easy. Think about factors of 10. You've got 10 and 1 and 5 and 2. Now, obviously, if you look at those two, it should hopefully be obvious that 10 and 1 are not going to add up to 7, but 5 and 2 will. So we start off by putting our brackets in like this, and I'll just make it bigger actually. Let's do it this big. Okay, so because these are positive factors, we put pluses in here. Okay, so x plus 2. Alright, so that's how you factorise that. That's as far as you can go with this one. If you expand that, you'll get the original answer. Okay, so that is factorising the opposite of expanding. Okay, so the second example here, a little bit trickier because it's got a negative middle term. Okay, so the negative 6. So looking at factors of 8. Okay, so we're looking at factors of positive 8 that add up to negative 6. So once you get going on these ones, you can think ahead and try and estimate what they should be. But until you do that, try listing out the factors. So factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 4 and 2, 2 and 4. That's all I can think of right now. Now, there's actually more factors of positive 8. The negative versions of these, I'll put these in brackets just to indicate that. So the negative versions of these, because a negative times a negative is positive, the negative versions of these are also true. Okay, negative 2 times negative 4 is also positive 8. Now, the only pair where so you add these up and you have to get the middle number. So negative 2 plus negative 4, so this pair here add up to negative 6. Okay, so x minus 2, x minus 4. Okay, you have to pick the correct factor pair. Alright, now this one here, you have to do something before you do the next one, because this is not a monic trinomial, not yet anyway. It's got 2 in front of the x, so what we're going to do is we're going to do factorisation by highest common factor. So you might notice that all these numbers divide by 2. Okay, so we do that first. Alright, so you put 2 out the front of a set of brackets, divide everything through by 2 and negative 14. Okay, so that 2 doesn't disappear, it's still there, but we're left with a monic now. So factors of, now we do our factor pairs. So factors of negative 14. Alright, so one of the things with this, the last number, if it's negative, okay, that last number is negative, one of the factors has to be negative, okay, because the product of two numbers, one or the other has to be negative and one will be positive. Okay, so you keep that in mind when you're doing your factor pairs. Multiples factors of 14 are 1 and 14. What else? 2 and 7. And I think that's about it. So because one of those has to be negative, you have to apply that to one of those things. So negative 1 and 14 is going to be 13. Negative 1 and negative 14 is going to be 13. Okay, so neither of those are correct. But 2 and 7, how do we get negative 5 out of 2 and 7? Okay, so if I make the 2 negative, if I add them together, I'll get positive 5. But if I make the 7 negative, I add them together, I'm going to get negative 5, which is what I want. Okay, so this is my factor pair right here. Okay, so putting that together, and it is important that the plus, because there's a plus on that 2, oops, all right, that x plus 2 goes in that bracket, so you cannot swap the signs around. Okay, because when you expand it, it'll apply to the, it'll add up wrong. Okay, so it is important that the negative and positive go together correctly. All right, that's the answer. You can't forget the 2 out the front there. That is important. That belongs there. Don't skip it. Okay, so this last one, okay, it's similar to the other ones, but this one ends up being a perfect square. So we use the same technique. Okay, so think of factors of 16, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. I think that's about it. Okay, it's a positive. Okay, so the signs will be the same, but we're looking for a negative sum, okay, which tells you that it's probably going to be the negative versions of these. It is going to be negative versions, okay, so when you think about it, negative 4 and negative 4, okay, both multiply together to get 16 and add together to get negative 8. Okay, so in our answer we have x minus 4, x minus 4. Okay, so this is actually a perfect square number, so you can simplify that even further by saying x minus 4 all squared. Okay, a perfect square. So that is how you factorize quadratic monic trinomials. I'm going to stop this video now, have a go at some questions, and then we're going to come back and do the bigger ones next.